typical sort of the question I suppose I hear is that do I buy and hold, or do I buy and sell, or what do I do? What is sort of my sort of the own investment goal? It depends on what your objective is in longer period of time, right? So buy and hold is, I suppose, is a strategy that you buy your first property, whether it is through your sort of initial savings, the parental contribution, either way. So you start and you buy your first property. Over a period of time, the asset, hopefully, you bought it well, the asset increases, you utilize that equity to buy your second property. Over a period of time, hopefully both of those assets increased, you use it to buy your third property, and fourth and fifth and sixth and so, based on what your investment strategy is, right? It's not number of properties is what I say. It's about the net asset is what I'm after, right? So you need to work it through how many investment properties do I need to reach into my net asset as such. The comment which I want to say is that initially it always that much harder, but it becomes easier over a period of time because of a compounding effect. You've just got one property as such, right? So you're waiting for that property to increase in value before you go into the next one. So it's a bit harder, but it becomes easier and easier over time, provided that you buy the right property, right? Because it's a compounding effect, right? So if you've got a negative compounding effect, we're asking for trouble. So in an ideal world, I love to buy properties which has got manufactured growth potential. So properties which I'm buying it on its own merit, yeah? So I'm buying it on the cash flow. So how much is the cash flow? How much it cost me out of my pocket to hold on to that property? I suppose the trap in there is that very often is to say, well, I'll put in 20% deposit and 80% is the mortgage, I'll calculate on 80%. And the next property, the trap is that I've taken the equity from the first property of 20%, but my mortgage is really 80% on the second property. We use the calculation on the second. Make sure you take all-inclusive cost to know quite clearly how much it cost you. So your entire interest cost, right? All of your holding cost and so forth, and all of your holding costs. The buy and sell, I suppose, is that when you buy a particular property and what you do is that you do a bit of your renovation, you subdivide, you build a granny flat, you subdivide, build another house, and you sort of sell it away. It's exciting, right? But it is problematic. And it's problematic, generally speaking, in the sense that if you don't do it in the right way, yeah? If you do not do it in the right way, I've seen people doing very well in buy and sell. I've seen a lot of people living into fallacy with buy and sell. And fallacy means is that when you buy it and you renovate, you subdivide, you sort of construct, do all of those things. I've done it, Mandrill, for about 300,000 that I bought, and I spent about 50 odd grand, so at 350 I sold it for 500 grand. That's good, 150 odd grand. No, because you got to add away the buying cost, you got to take away the selling cost, you got to take away the capital gain tax attached to it. You may not be entitled to a discount because you've done it below 1 year. You got to take away the holding cost. So fundamental thing which I sort of say when you do buy and sell is that the way I sort of do in my mind is that can I afford to hold on to that property if the project doesn't go within sort of my business plan, right? So if the interest rate goes up, if sort of market took a bit of dive, this happened, that happened, that happened, can I still afford to hold on to that property? That sort of is sort of my, I suppose, my sort of a test in my mind. And if the answer is no, then buy and sell to me is rather risky. Many example, I was sitting down with a client the other day. Client bought a property about 22 years ago, somewhere in Sydney without in details for about 170 odd grand, about 22 years, and that's probably sitting at $2 million market value at the moment. Not bad. And if I give you the name of the suburb, if I give you where it's being purchased, you say, yeah, 2 million makes sense. That's what the market value is, right? And it's nothing extraordinary. It's about 500 square meter land. It's a corner block. It helps. In that area, 500 square meter land, it helps. The house is probably not the best of the condition. It's okay. So I can give you that example. I can give you an example that is CGT event that we done recently. Gentleman bought a land for about 538,000 or so. This was about 25 years ago as well. Believe it or not, they sold it over $13 million. $13 million that they have sold it. Why? Because the whole area has been rezoned. So to me, this is a good example. I can give you the contra example that a gentleman of our client, good client, right? So he bought a property a number of years ago for about 1.1 million in Bondi. And he sold it literally within a year, touch with over a year, for about 1.7. And it's like, he's done well, 1.7, you know, why would you complain? 500 odd grand within 1 year, brilliant, right? He loved it. I loved it too. The problem is the value of that property is about 6 million now. And But he's done well with his 500,000 or 600,000, right? And there are many other examples, right? I can give an example of a 5-acre land in Leppington as an example that someone bought it for 380, sold it for 930, literally within a year or so. And that 5-acre land, depending on where it is in Leppington, it's probably easily about $5.5, if not $6 million at the moment is the market value. So what's the sort of the, I suppose, basic tip that I take? I say that very often I make more money in terms of not doing anything, in the sense that holding on to it. It doesn't need to be that exciting. We don't need to buy and sell as such. Very often that inaction where we hold on to it for a longer period of time, provided that we continue with our investment journey, provided that we can still get the funding and we can use that funding to purchase the subsequent property, provides bigger benefit.